everyone. This is Apostle Babe Linda James, your favorite apostate. And this is where I tell you that if I keep telling you this every single week, over and over and over again, I will convince you that I am your favorite apostate. Because that's how brainwashing works. If you hear it over and over and over again, you will remember it. But this is not only something that you can use negatively, you can also you can also use it positively. So when you're getting ready for a test and you want to remember what it is you've learned and what will be on the test, you make your little cards up and you repeat these things over and over and over again. And one of the things I remember learning in my psychology class in junior college was the word mnemonics. Mnemonics. This word does not start with the letter N, but rather the letter M, as in Mary. And I believed it should have started with the letter N, as in Nancy. But right after M is the letter N. Basically, it was backwards and it reminded me of demonic. So the word mnemonics is a form of memorizing things. But for me to memorize the word, I had to think of it as those first two letters being backwards. So however you can remember things, you kind of attach something else that you already know to it. It will help you remember it for a test, and you repeat it to yourself over and over and over again. And if you have a study partner, you can, have your little cards that you made up to memorize certain words and the meaning of these words, and just keep talking about it over and over and over again. Another thing is the organization talks about the same subjects over and over and over again. So when they do any kind of inconsistencies, it could stand out to people, but a lot of times it does not. And that is because the way that they teach things and the sound of the voice that is used today, not so much back in the day, say the 70s, 80s, and 70s and 80s, it was very different dynamic that men would give talks with. But today it's very dum da 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 dum. This is to get you in a position to be kind of relaxed. Okay, it's a form of hypnotism, but it's not something that puts you out. It simply relaxes you and puts you in a daydreamy state of mind. So, and by the way, any kind of hypnotism is self-hypnotism. So if you feel yourself relaxing, you can also knock yourself out of it or snap yourself out of it right away. If the baby cries or a child asks you a question or somebody taps you on the shoulder, you will be aware right away. But when you're in this daydreamy state, the messages that are coming to you happen to go past your filter, the filter that recognizes inconsistencies, the filter that could say, well, that doesn't seem right. Or how does that work with this? So that's the reason why that is being used. This is my theory. It's my opinion. I have not read any kind of confirmation about this, about Watchtower literature or any brothers from the Kingdom Halls or any assemblies or symposiums. I have not been told that this is the reason. This is my observation and from things I've learned on my own that I have come up with this conclusion. This is my theory. And Matthew and I both have opinions and theories, and we share them. And they are just that, our opinions and our theories. So if they ring true, you're welcome to take them on yourself. If they don't, that's fine too. I'm not expecting you to agree with me. Just take what you like and leave the rest, is my opinion, which I've learned through Al Anon. So, Al Anon, if you don't know, is a group of people that is adjacent to Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay. So if you have someone in your life that might have addictions and they're doing a 12-step program, there's a group for the wives of, or the children of, or the husbands of someone with addiction. And usually what we find out about ourselves is how much we have enabled them, the person with addiction, how much we've gotten the way of them experiencing the consequences that they are supposed to go through. And I found out myself that I was very what is called codependent. Codependent does not mean that two people are dependent on each other. Codependent means I'm not okay unless someone who is valuable to me is okay with me. If they're not okay with me, then I'm a basket case. Okay. It affects it makes me nervous. And if they're acting erratically, maybe under the influence of alcohol or drugs, I feel anxious. I feel I need to fix it. I feel I need to stop it. And yes, that may be the case at times, but I took on too much. And even to the point of making sure that they wouldn't feel their consequences. So it's actually a disservice. I had come to find it was a disservice to be in the way of someone who is struggling with addiction, to get in the way of the consequences they're supposed to experience. And I remember, so I had someone in my my circle of people I knew that was struggling with addiction, and I remember being told, "You need to go to Al-Anon." I remember thinking to myself, "Why do I need to go to Al-Anon? They're the one with the problem." But I had no idea how much I had contributed to the chaos. And that was quite shocking to find out. So the more I had come to learn that I am not in control of their actions, I'm not even who caused their actions, which is something a lot of people that love those with addictions think that they have. I didn't cause it, and I can't cure it. And it's for them to work through. So, but my part was interesting to realize how there was kind of this dance that I was actually taking part in that I should not have even been involved in. And that was quite eye-opening for me to find out. So that term, take what you like and leave the rest, was something that was used in these meetings of Al-Anon, which I really appreciated because sometimes I didn't understand things and I didn't want to just receive it because somebody said that in the book or whatever it was, information was coming to me. If it didn't make sense, I didn't receive it. If it didn't ring true, I didn't take it on. But if it did, I was able to receive it and ponder on it. And what was interesting too is much like a 12-step program for AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is people can share that show up there. And so that was the case with us who went to Al-Anon as well. And it was interesting that the things that we would share, finding out that, listening to another person speak about how they've changed their behavior around the person that they love dearly who has an addiction problem was just very inspiring to me and encouraging to me, because I did live my life as though I had to make sure my loved one was okay. Otherwise, I'm not okay. That's what codependency is. So the organization also teaches us to be codependent. If Jehovah's not okay, I'm not okay. And that can go into our behavior, which has been labeled something that makes Jehovah sad, or disappoints Jehovah, or if I have behavior that pleases Jehovah or makes Jehovah happy. That's the zone I need to stay in. So in actuality, within the organization, my mindset is I'm not okay until Jehovah's okay. And who is Jehovah? In my mind, the organization, the elders that are in my congregation, all of this hierarchy, okay, associated with the patriarchy, which is a male dominating organization. And I'm not saying that all males had a dominating attitude towards them, because that was not the case with me growing up. But there was some that were, and it's suffocating. I, in my opinion, being born a girl child within this religion is like a nightmare. It's you learn that no, you can't do this, no, you can't do that. Why? Because you're a woman. It's like we are raised to be submissive and to behave in such a way that we submit to whatever control is given to us. Men are more brought up to get in a place of taking responsibility, which is also hard too. It's a different route, and they are trained to have the mindset of, being the head of the household, telling women what to do rather than taking them into consideration. I do believe that there are men within this organization that do take women in consideration when they make their decisions. But the fact is, we women are trained. Yes, we can tell our husbands, our fathers, how we want things to go. But if they choose that a different way is more suitable, I have to follow that. I have to remain within those instructions, even if they go against my conscience, even if they go against everything that I am. I have to do that because that's what God wants me to do. And I can't have God upset with me. So I must get in the realm of doing what the father or the husband of me informs me that I should be behaving as or doing or whatever. So men will go through these situations as well. Just because someone is a ministerial servant or an elder doesn't mean they don't have their authorities over them that are doing the same kind of thing, that they have to follow the orders of those in higher positions of them. So they go through it too. It looks like they have all the power, but they only have some power, and it's a bit more than we women have. But at the same time, we women have a ton of responsibility within this organization, a ton of responsibility, yet very little power. Every so often, we might see some sister kind of have an attitude, and we're just like, our jaw drops and goes, oh my God, she did that. What happened? It just, we're just shocked as, and they might get by with it or they might get reprimanded, but we were trained to not to do that. So I did not look at them and think, yeah, that's a good way to be. Just stand in my place and, demand that I be heard. I didn't have that spirit in me. I didn't have that umph to fight, to be. I didn't have a sense of being worthy enough to stand up for myself. And I truly believe this organization teaches us not to stand up for ourselves. We need to turn the other cheek 77 times, no matter who it is that screws us over or treats us wrongly. We just need to forgive them and move on. Today, I see that as incredibly dangerous. And what I found the hard way is that those that I deal with in life that are narcissistic kinds of personalities, I believe we're all kind of on the scale of narcissism. Some of us are lower on the scale, some of us are higher on the scale. And in the apartments where I live, there was a maintenance man, and he used to just, and he was a big buff guy, um, muscles and just big dude. So he was quite intimidating looking, and he would walk through the apartments and he would pick fights with people, and they would kind of just try to reply back to him, justifying themselves or explaining why that accusation isn't true. And then he would go run to the landlord saying that these people gave him a hard time. And it was just totally horrible. It was totally horrible what he did. But when I had my grandkids at the house with me, I was indignant. Let me just back up a little bit. The house I grew up in, there was chaos and arguments at any moment. And it was chaotic, and it was not a very peaceful home I grew up in. Fights could break out at any time. So the environment I wanted to make for my own kids was for them not to experience that. So I would keep my mouth shut, even when things really bothered me. I would wait till later, speak to my husband later. I would wait till later, ask my dad something later. That's the way I would handle it. Instead of in front of the kids that I'm teaching to respect their father, I would not talk him down. I would not challenge him in front of the kids, so that it would give them a environment of peace. That was the way I thought was the right way to be. Today, I would do things a bit differently, but not much differently. So when my grandkids were here, I expected them to have a non-drama atmosphere and not having people yelling around them. So when I would hear my maintenance guy here at the apartments walking by and antagonizing somebody, bullying somebody, I would go out there and say, "Not today, Eric, not today. I have my grandkids here today. You can't be yelling around my grandkids here. Not today, Eric." And he'd go, "Okay." And he'd just walk away every single time. And after a while, I thought to myself, well, why does he just agree with me? Well, I turned on my yard duty, you know, like I was the yard duty, you know how when you're in school and you go out for recess and they have like these yard duty teachers that if something goes wrong, you go run to the yard duty, so and so's picking on me, or so and so lost their ball or whatever. And they'd, blow a whistle or something and they'd yell, "Hey, give them back their ball." So when I was a kid, I was the only girl who wanted to play kickball. It was always just a bunch of boys. So I would line up, the two teams would pick everybody and leave me standing there. So I would go run to the yard duty teacher, go, "They're not letting me play kickball." She'd yell at him, "You got to let her play." And one of the teams would say, "Okay, come on over here." So I played kickball every day at school. So that's the yard duty voice. I went outside with my yard duty voice. "Not today, Eric, not today. I have my grandkids here. You can't be yelling at them." Did you want to say something, Matthew?
I was laughing.
What?
I was laughing
Okay.
because I was listening. Not today, Eric.
So,
Yeah, so you gave him the right medicine, or you handled that. Yeah, you got a breakthrough there.
well, I didn't realize what I was doing was standing up to a bully
Yeah.
until later.
Fear is a coward that when you face it runs away.
Yes, I did not realize that's what I was doing. I was standing up to the bully, not for myself, but for the mindset that I had that my kids are here, my grandkids are here. They're not going to experience this chaos. And I would boldly walk out there with an indignant attitude, which is not my normal. But when this happens, oh no, look out. So there was another time I had went off on him too. It is so rare that I go off on somebody when it happens. It's quite monumental. So how did I get to this place? Yard duty voice, narcissist. So the organization, what I've learned is within cults or high control, high demand groups, and this could be a political group, a religious group, a self-improvement group, a yoga group. It could be the PTA, Parent Teacher Association group. A bowling team can be a cult when there's an imbalance of power and authority, and that person that has the power and authority abuses it. And that's called an abuse of power or an abuse of authority. It's unethical for those that are given positions of power and authority over others to abuse them and treat the people that are under them positionally, not necessarily that they're greater than them, but positionally higher than them, maybe in a teacher position or a leader position. It's unethical to treat them in a dehumanizing way. So what I found out is that cult leaders are narcissists. And what happens is at the higher ups of the echelons of a group is the top narcissists, either one or many. And from them, they're training those under them how to be narcissists as well. And it just goes down the chain of command to the elders, to the men of the congregation. And some of them will take it on, some of them will not. It's kind of a thing of how much one is influenced. So my father never really was a strict, devoted Jehovah's Witness. He would be kind of what's called in and out of the truth. So I didn't realize it until later in life when I kind of got to know the dynamics of this organization that put my mother and my sister and myself in a category of spiritually weak. And I did not know that at the time. So I was sheltered from associating with those that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, and those that were Jehovah's Witnesses did not want to associate with my sister and I because we're spiritually weak. So growing up within this organization was very isolating, very lonely. And then the way my mother behaved, there was quite a bit of it was taught to her by the organization, but above and beyond that was her own things, her own ways of treating us. So there's that. So when we leave an organization with such high control and high demand, and we're used to functioning in such a way that we're not okay until the person that is valuable to us is okay. We've lived under tactical alert for years, okay? Years upon years upon years, tactical alert. Shit's gonna hit any minute because Armageddon's gonna hit any minute. That's the way many of us were raised, with that fear. And I was telling Matthew before the show, I knew I was not going to make it through Armageddon because I was such a bad girl. So not only is Armageddon going to show up any minute, I'm going to be killed any minute by my own God because I'm whatever my mother was calling me or whatever was being taught in the organizational literature. So many of us Jehovah's Witnesses fall into the category of codependent. And if we do, that's a hurdle that we need to overcome. And there's a book by Betty called Codependency No More. And this is a very helpful book. When I was in Al-Anon, it was very helpful because so many of us realized that we were so codependent. And basically, I used to be totally flaming codependent. Okay. And so that's a hard thing to get rid of as we, move on away from, the people that used to be in our lives. We still have that mindset of those that are now in our lives, and it could be anybody, a work partner, anybody that comes in contact with us or we come in contact with them. We still have that mindset that if you're codependent, that we're not okay unless they are okay. So just a look of disappointment coming from anyone can affect some of us hugely. Not everybody, but hugely. So that's part of the healing when you are learning to assimilate into society at large, how to not take it personal, how to realize that that's more about them than probably you. It could be about you, but even if it is about you, that they gave that look. The fact of the matter is, rejection is always about the other person. Either they can't hang with your personality, or they can't hang with something that you want to do and they don't care to do it, so they reject it. It's about them. Their rejection is about them. It doesn't necessarily mean that your behavior repulsed them from you. It can, but that's not necessarily the case. So getting to know these different things that come up as mental distractions and mental blocks is helpful to learn. Also, too, comparing ourselves to others. If we compare ourselves to other people that are on this healing journey of recovering from the way we were treated, spiritual abuse or abuse of authority, abuse of power, it can be challenging, because until we understand that being treated negatively, being treated wrongly is pretty much our normal. That's normal to us. So for us to even stand up for ourselves after we've been trained that that's not godly, it takes some time to understand why and to actually stand up for yourself. Why it's okay, why it's justified. I can remember I never heard the word entitled my whole childhood until I was about 19. Someone told me I was entitled to something. What are you entitled? That's just so foreign to me. And I can remember people saying, you deserve this, that, or the other. And I'm thinking, well, what did I do to deserve that? Like I didn't have a place in my head that received that. That took me a long time to hear people say you deserve to be happy, or you deserve, you've worked hard for that, you deserve that, good for you. This was just foreign mentality. But the more you spend time working on yourself, learning the techniques and tactics that a cult uses that are not for your best interest, but rather for their best interest, and it makes you vulnerable to them, the more you will discover how you can grow in these certain situations. Okay? Is anything ringing a bell to you, Matthew, as I'm talking about any of this?
Lots. I'm still on the 12 steps. Look, there's a lot to unpack, Linda James, and I'm just quiet because I think that your information is very, very good. I was just going through the honesty, faith, surrender, searching, integrity, acceptance, humility, willingness, forgiveness, maintenance, making contact, service. But those are the 12 steps, right? I mean, that should sound familiar.
12 steps as in a 12-step group?
Well, you started off with Al-Anon, hey? So I went through that, but then of course I moved on to Betty as well, Melody Beatty,
Yes, Melody
Codependent No
Betty.
More. Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just thinking about that. Was it the true peace and happiness comes from letting go of the need to control others
Yes.
and shifting your focus on your own needs. So, Linda James, I'm tired, or go sleep, go rest. Linda James, I'm hungry, then go eat a sandwich. Matt, go and do it. And what's that all about? It's personal responsibility and healthy self-care, which is essential. It's not selfish because it is necessary. It's necessary for building healthy relationships and reclaiming your life. If you're overtired, you're going to be useless. If you're over hungry, you ain't going to have the power to do what's needed. So go and eat and go and sleep. Go and get those things done that is necessary. So that's it. Yeah, it's not saying be unbalanced or anything like that, but it's saying address those needs. We were robbed of those things in an unhealthy, spiritually abusive environment, which said, no, you'll sleep when you die. So 1 hour or 3 hours of sleep is what you need until people have accidents and impale themselves and it creates a liability and then they eject you. That's what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this kind of behavior.
Yes.
So, yeah, there was a lot. I'm going to keep quiet now, but.
Yes. And you've shared that, at times that's the amount of sleep you would get. So being just an ordinary rank and file publisher, well, I did get more sleep than that. But the fact is, they keep us busy every single day of the week almost. If you're not studying for the next meeting, you're at the next meeting. Or if you're not at the next meeting, you're going out in service. Like this service to God, going out door to door was called our spiritual act of worship. Worship. That was worshiping Jehovah, going out door to door. These things where if there was real problems, especially psychological problems, just read your Bible more, go out and service more. That's the advice. And it doesn't help it get better. It's not attending to the situation. Now, today they do encourage, if you need to go to a therapist, yes, do so. But it wasn't always that way.
Can I interject there, Linda James?
Yes, please. Yes.
You can go to a JW approved therapist.
Yeah, I went to one of those. He was an elder, but nobody told me. Mm-hmm. So I went to this therapist.
So that was a proviso, wasn't it? You see, so that it still brings you into the system that creates the problem.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, oh, a therapist, finally somebody I can talk to. And I did. And he literally said, well, now that you've told me this, I'm going to have to report you to headquarters. And I about fell over. He had to call headquarters on me, a 16-year-old, who opened up to him because I thought that's what you could do with a therapist. But not with this one. So that ended up putting me on public reproof. And that was a form of public shaming. When you have to go to a platform and tell your whole community that somebody has behaved disapprovingly to God, and this is back in the day, for behavior unbecoming of a Christian. That is public humiliation. Jim Jones used to do this as well. He would actually get the family members of whoever he was publicly shaming and get them to beat them. in front of the other congregants. It's pretty gnarly. So that wasn't a good time either, because at that time the elders told me that Jehovah doesn't hear my prayers.
Oh,
Okay. And I knew that within that time span that I was put on public reproof, if Armageddon hit, I would not survive.
huh.
Okay. Today, how dare them? Today, I'm furious about it. How dare them tell a 16-year-old child that God doesn't hear their prayers because of some behavior they've done that's inappropriate? They have no business talking this way, but that's something that they believe they held a position to say. What's on your mind? I can tell. Something's coming up.
Well, I've got J Mars on my mind. I've got Slim Chick on my mind. I've got Grow on my mind, because we've got a really great community here, Linda James. So I thought I would just focus on our great community that is
Thank
here,
you.
if that's all right.
Yes, thank you.
Can I do that for a little while?
Yes, please.
So Jay Mars is acting as community greeter, welcoming people and acknowledging. He's acknowledging you, Linda, and also myself. But he just keeps some stability there, and it's just a stable presence, and an astute, stable presence, by the way. And then you've got Slim Chick and Natasha Peters. They engage positively and consistently, and they actually just, if I may say, create a warm atmosphere. Along with Grow joins with some simple greetings and suggests, casual participants rather than, arriving with a strong agenda. We enjoy that. That creates good atmosphere. And Natasha says, "You are my favorite apostate," and that's
thank you. Hello,
yeah,
everybody. I'm really glad you
intended
guys
as
are
affection.
here.
Yep. So it's worth noting that the word apostate carries a very different emotional meaning here, depending on the audience. So you might have heard me say witness emergent. So I use that.
Mhm.
I try to make efforts to build bridges rather than make identity camps. Oh, you're in this camp. This is your label. Because we should have. I like Grow's name, because we can grow into all sorts of things. So Natasha, I appreciate your comments. I tend to think of myself more as a witness emergent than an apostate, but I can be an apostate too. I've had my brain washed by Linda James, and I see a bright yellow rubber duck with bubbles in the bath, and it feels good.
So fun. That's so fun. When we were kids, playing in the bathtub was a good time usually.
Okay, thank you.
I
We
know that there's
appreciate.
people that have had decent childhoods, but we haven't always, it hasn't been for everybody. And I don't think it was the case for everyone to have a horrible childhood because this organization taught our parents to do that. I think that was above and beyond. But it was still very isolating, and it made it to where we couldn't socialize much. And when we can't socialize much, we become socially stunted and don't function well within society at large because we haven't learned what's the normal thing of within society at large. We are only familiar with the culture of Jehovah's Witnesses. And that isn't helpful to only be familiar with one culture. I believe that having familiarity with many different cultures, whether we agree with them or not, is healthy. But when you are limited to only this one culture and the behavior and the ways of only one culture, and you try to assimilate into society at large, which is of many cultures, it's hard to blend. It's hard to shift into gear and keep up or understand why some people may be disappointed in you. And it's basically because we don't understand social clues that we should understand if we had socialized enough. But because we couldn't be growing up, because we could not be part of birthday parties or any kind of holiday situations in class, that took away quite a bit of socializing that we could have had with other children. Okay, so only being able to associate with other Jehovah's Witnesses with that mindset of, bad association spoils useful habits. That's great if there's enough kids your age or similar to your age, and the parents actually make sure that there's socializing happening or a decent amount. But with the schedule of an ordinary Jehovah's Witness, it doesn't necessarily happen all that much. So finding out how life really is when you get out here into society at large, at first is a rude awakening. But if you can bear through it, kind of lick your wounds along the way, as society at large just looks at you sideways because they see you like you're at a certain age, you should know this stuff. And socially, we should have known this stuff, but we were socially stunted, so we didn't grow to enough we didn't have enough socializing to learn these things. So that is something that helps the sabotage when somebody does choose to leave. And they do things that screw them over, basically, sabotage themselves, and they don't realize it because they're still behaving in the way that they had been trained to behave. And it doesn't necessarily always work within society at large. There's other stuff that we've been trained about, to be respectful of our elders and older people in the Kingdom Hall and things like that, to look at someone when they talk to us and be able to have small talk conversation. These things do benefit us. If you happen to get a job in sales, you're probably going to do very well, really well, actually. Because ministry school, theocratic ministry school, was an attempt to teach us sales. And what did we sell? We sold the Jehovah's Witness gospel of having everlasting life in paradise. We rarely ever spoke of those that were going to go to heaven. We rarely spoke of the 144,000.
I wanted to say we sold our souls.
You look at these pictures and everybody's holding up a magazine or a book. That's a bunch of pictures you've seen. It's like, it's not a picture of them, it's them advertising the book, And that was our purpose. And we were trained to believe that we were representatives of this organization. And that's what we were. Representatives of actually a corporation. But we didn't see it as a corporation. It was God's true religion, right? So we saw ourselves as representatives of God. What was your viewpoint as far as what you were expected?
I was recovering from a cold shiver that went down my spine, as you said, or you brought that picture of like some kid, poster kid holding a magazine or a book with a smile plastered on their face, right? And going, oh, isn't that great? Jehovah approving. I'm going back to, this brings Jehovah's smile of approval. So I had a cold shiver. That was the reaction. And the reason why I report that is I think that's a genuine, honest reaction, because it's that corporate thing that just doesn't belong in the natural world. I look at we've spoken about the sand people, the Khoisan people that live on the edge of the Namib Desert here, and I'm going, I've seen missionaries, special pioneers, or persons just get into nice air-conditioned Toyota Land Cruisers and go up to tiny children and hand them a publication or a tract, and they feel that they've done the great good. But that tract gets rolled up and used for something. It gets used, for fire, or it gets used for something practical, or it becomes something else. But instead of, water or some kind of food or something like this, but there's this paper or this book or whatever, and the child probably can't even read that thing, but it's just this mismatch imagery in my mind going, no, there's some. I'm glad that there's still peoples that are in touch with the land and with the earth and have their senses about them. And there's this contrast to this industrialized thing where a tree died to produce that book, or it died to produce that paper. I don't know, am I coming through? I might be just tired.
No, I hear you. It makes sense. That's what. So today, in the United States, and this may be happening all over, places are going up for AI, and it's showing up in these cities where the city can't handle the amount of water or electricity that these, I believe they're called data centers, need. And if these data centers take this stuff, it's going to affect the community. So they're just showing up at places and they're trying to fight. Many residents are trying to fight it. So there's this love-hate thing with AI and fear too. Many jobs are being replaced by AI. So people are losing jobs and losing. Yes, the AI situations can be very efficient, yet one's identity very much is associated with the job that they do, with their career. And if that's taken away from them, it's very damaging to them. Now, being a Jehovah's Witness, that was part of our identity, or is, depending on who you are, but so is one's career. Did you want to add something, Matthew?
Again, I was captivated by the audience. Jay Mars says, remember, AI is not self-automated. It needs a human controller. I saw this happen on frontline information and thesis production. I saw that. I saw an AI take a working thesis from an incredible historian. Incredible historian that I'm gushing over is Gary Lachman, who was part of Blondie, the rock group, or the pop group Blondie, that does Harder Glass, that also yes. Dolly Parton sings. And Gary Lachman becomes this historian, and he's brilliant at what he does. I mean, I've heard his talks to like Theosophical Society. Brilliant stuff. I mean, really good. Top of his game, top of his field. Anyway, he produces this thesis about Gurdjieff and Ouspensky at Fontainebleau, Paris. I mean, this is a significant piece that he does. But somebody ran it through something like Grammarly, which had an AI component. And the AI, with its rationalizing and probability, started misinterpreting the information and feeling like it had to resolve it. And it changed the history of what Gary Lachman had researched. And it did it in such a convincing way that the only way that that problem could be detected was with a discerning, intuitive group of psychologists and historians and persons who are familiar with editing, who could see, no, this doesn't tally. It looks convincing, but it doesn't tally. And it almost caught that group who are highly trained off guard. I looked at this and I went, wow, if this was occurring, expect AI to rewrite history. Expect it to rewrite science. It was very, very dangerous stuff, because I'm talking about frontline scientific community where this happened. And at least we spoke about it transparently, and we caught it and we corrected it. But that was, I would say, like proprietary knowledge that was unique to Gary Lachman. And thankfully we caught that thing and saw it embedded in like the Grammarly or the what was it, you know, when you produce something for a magazine or for publication, it normally goes through like a proofing thing. And now a lot of these things are automated, or it's embedded in your email. And I had, who was this, Christopher Norton, write to me, and he says, by the way, this thing that this thesis that was done by Danny Sheehan or whatever, it looks like there's a step backwards. And I looked at it and I went, where did this happen? And it happened between computers, between an IBM system and an Apple system, where there'd been communication between these computers. And it looks like some of this AI stuff had interfered with it. And I went, oh, this is terrible, because if you've got somebody who's at the front of their game, like a brilliant legal like Danny Sheehan, where computer files are being exchanged between systems, but there's an AI involved. I'm just mentioning this with what happened with Gary. I go, this is horrifying, because Norton was saying to me, he says, if Danny Sheehan has said this, then he said it. And I'm going, yeah, that's exactly right. That's the grounding thing. But now if you've got an AI or something that's come in that even slightly changes the grammar, because Danny Sheehan has like word whispers and he uses regressions, but he's effective as a lawyer, right? But if you start making it too clinical, you start removing what makes him strong as a legal voice. You remove that. And I'm going, yeah, this is the world in which we are living in. So yeah, we've got to approach these things with cautions. But the more I investigated, the more I saw, oh, you know what? I've heard this tune of AI somewhere else, because AI promises an end to cancer. It actually promises longevity, everlasting life, paradise, earth, with what do you say? A planet that's in equilibrium with its resources. And I'm going, you know, I've heard this in JW. I was
going to say, this sounds so familiar.
Yeah, perfect governance, right? And what's it doing? It's taking all of these resources, water, electricity, power, all of this kind of stuff, because it's promising the earth, it's promising everlasting life, it's promising the kingdom, right?
Yes.
That's how it's getting its money. That's how it's getting its subsidy. Hello, subsidy. Excuse me, President Trump, please can you produce a great big subsidy of like $500 billion for this machine? And he's going, yeah, sure. Why? Because you've promised everlasting life. You've promised an end to problems, and you're going to bring about universal basic income and an end to poverty. And hey, everybody's going to be eating food, and it's going to be equal distribution or equitable, not equal, equitable distribution of things. Isn't that great? And that's where it's getting its support from. And it's the end justifies the means. Oh, are you unhappy in the town about this data center or about this machine that's going in that's power hungry and is taking your water and taking your resources? Well, just put those aside because it's going to sort out your problems.
Yeah. Yes.
And is it sorting out the problems, or it's just going, oh well, we just eliminate the problem. We go and drop a bomb on a nation that's got a different viewpoint, or not just a different viewpoint, that's saying, oh, if you want our resources, we want to make sure that these resources are handled in a way that it benefits our local people fairly, not unfairly. Or that's when you lose presidents of certain countries. And then they put in another president who says the same thing, and he has a car crash or a plane crash or whatever, until those resources are handed over to the dominant figure. This is where we were talking about bullying earlier. You were talking about in JW culture, there's this bullying. But it's also done, funnily enough, by an emasculated group of men.
Yes.
That are very, very vulnerable, that if you apply this thing, oh, fear is a coward, that when you face it runs away, which is what you were talking about in your experience of this person who was harassing people in the flats, right? And you're saying, hey, not today, not today. That's what happened in my experience recently, that I was relating with somebody from JW, a key influencer in JW, who came to me. And they were crumbling. I actually saw what a weak individual this is. Really weak. There's no moral fortitude. It's crumbling, collapsing, asking people, please, can I go to the bathroom? And you're going, ooh, this person who was feared, who was the mouthpiece of God. I think your words were, although you weren't talking about this particular person, but it applied. It's preposterous. It is preposterous. Yes. Oh, God is scanning the world for this kind of individual. But then you've got a sand person who's digging roots out of the ground with authentic human survivability and in touch with the environment and the senses, and extends into the planet, because as he breathes in oxygen, he's connected to the rainforest, and he's connected to the planet, and he's connected to the solar system, or she, for that matter, he or she. You've got this contrast, whereas you now insert this corporate individual who's got moral cowardice, and the sand person says, geez, you're going to scare the animals away. You smell, you don't even fit in with this environment. But one is civilized and the other one is savage. There's something wrong here. There's something not quite correct. So I like being in Africa for that set of contrasts, because it's turning things on its head, so it should. That there is this mix mash. But coming back to this AI thing about being this great savior of the planet, we've heard that tune before, so it raises a red flag. I go, yeah, AI is great. Do I use it for my channel? Yes, I do. I don't poo-poo it totally. So you go, well, Matt, you're a hypocrite because you use it. I go, well, no, it's helping me to get a message out that I believe is important. But I'm going, let's be balanced about this thing. Is it the savior? Is it the cancer saving thing? Is it the life extending thing? We've heard it before. So we're approaching with caution.
Yes. Yes. the fact that you were talking about erasing history. That's so dangerous, and it's horrifying, actually.
I've got more confidence in our. Let's just take this community here: Purple,
Okay.
Kerry K, Natasha, J Mars, Dallas, you, me, whoever's here. Do we consider ourselves pinnacle humans? No, we say we're very flawed. We've got damage. We say we're survivors of the spiritual abuse. Hello, we've come. You're giving stories about your childhood here and saying, look, this is what happened. I was told I was an evil person. I was a devil child or whatever it was. Okay. I'm apparently one of the most evil people on the planet, Linda James, who's telling you this story.
Me too. Me too.
You know,
I've been declared such things as well.
But now you take us as a community. There's an intuition that I would go with that intuition, that community intuition that's coming out over and above what's coming through these highly controlled information dispensing systems where there is a political agenda going on. It's being in touch with that community or being in touch with the planet that is actually communicating to us. It's telling us things all the time. Are you hungry?
Yes,
Well, then go eat. Are you sleepy? Go sleep. It's telling you things. Okay.
What's fascinating about being in a high-controlled, high-demand cult is we're taught to ignore all of those things to be of better service to them. And it just wears us down until we're useless to them, and then they discard us, like any narcissistic person would. Once we are of no value to them, what we can do for them, they dispose of us. And how dare you get out of that trash can and make a life for yourself? You're supposed to be in this trash can. We disposed of you. Okay? Do not buy into that. You have the will. You might not know the way, but keep going with the will. Okay? And keep getting up and going again and doing stupid things until you one day get it a bit more normal. I'm telling you, this is just how it worked out for me.
As you said that, I had a flash, mind flash. And the mind flash was actually technological. And it was discarded robots. It was this pile of discarded robots that was, oh no, you threatened us, so we're going to discard you. And they were smashed to pieces, they were broken. But then I looked at a parallel of so-called broken people. Can I say like us? Yeah, I would say like us. But those machines, those people, if you want to take it as a metaphor, went and reassembled and took all the broken pieces and made something better.
You were talking about that earlier today on a show you did. You did a live, and something I'm involved with, Deservingly You, that's part of what they have as well, like putting pottery together that's been broken.
Oh yeah, that was my show, yeah.
With a product that usually is gold or some form of something to put it together with, and it really strengthens it.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. That was my show. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I was talking about all the broken colored glass, Tsugi, which is like taking a porcelain cup that's got a crack in it, and you don't hide that thing. You don't hide that crack. It becomes the thing of beauty as you seal it with gold. And I think somebody in the comments said, oh, but sometimes there aren't, you might be missing a whole piece. I said, yes, but then that becomes a whole piece of gold, isn't it? That's what it is. But, and you don't hide it. That is the art form. You've now made something better with the pieces. And that's highly threatening to these systems. And I think this is, I think it was Natasha Peters who was talking about, and I was saying, I don't always say I'm apostate or anything like this. I say I'm JW emergent. In other words, something better came from the pieces, or from the disaster. Something better came. We're emergent, and that way it. I'm trying to get away from the whole labels thing and say, oh, I'm black or I'm white. I go, there's a reason why my name's Gray, because it's all of these things in between. I try not to go towards labels of apostate. I don't say no, wrong. I go, hey, I'm great being labeled apostate. Isn't that what Jesus Christ was? Isn't that what John the Baptist was when he's not in Jerusalem? He's outside preaching and teaching and doing kind of like his own thing. Or the person that was preaching in Jesus' name, and the apostles say, hey, he's not one of us. We better go shut him down, Jesus. And Jesus said, don't touch him. You know, if he's on our side, he might not be with us, but he's doing the right thing. So shut up, guys, leave him alone. And that was the message that was coming through, and going, well, there's an apostate, folks. That's not fitting in with, you know, that authority structure, which has actually failed the people. And I think what we have now, if we actually discern these teachings from a biblical point of view, is that if you don't actually fit in, this is a largely a good sign. Okay, because it's especially if it was for ethics, and we said, no, I'm not going to bend my will to your will so that we can endorse trespassing, or endorse theft, or endorse abuse here, because you're scared and you're saying, oh no, if we remove all of our corrupt leaders, then who are we going to have to govern the people? Who are we going to have? So it's for the greater good we keep all these bad people in place. I'm not supporting that anymore. And I see that coming up from the community. I'm going to drop some names. Fran and Joe. I got on with them. Why? Because they said no. And you know what put me in touch with Fran and Joe? Because they said, oh, how did you find us? I said, oh, by the way, it was AI. I was bleating to AI and going, oh, this is not great. And how do we justify these ethics? And you're trained in ethics. And it says, oh, by the way, there's some people that I think a lot like you do. And it was Fran and Joe. And it says, not telling you go and meet them, but they've got a profile that looks like you. And I'm trained for recognizing profiles. Sure as nuts, when I contacted them, I could see that we had a lot in common. And it helped me during some kind of stage where I wasn't sleeping properly and in panic and things like this. And yeah, so what was that all about? It was about ethics. It was about being united and saying, no, I'm not supporting this abuse anymore, for the greater good, for the good of the institution, over and above people's welfare. No. So we as humans, I think we are seeing that the governments have failed like this. Institutions have failed like this. Are we against people? No, it isn't. We're actually for people. We're actually even for those people who are abusive, because we say, oh, we see that you suffer from fear. We see that you suffer from weak will or moral cowardice. But actually, we're not there to destroy you. We actually feel pity for you, and in a way that we go, oh, we actually want to be protective of you. We don't actually want to drop a bomb on you like you want to drop a bomb on all of us or on others. And I think that's what's coming through this greater awareness now, right? These kind of discussions are getting us to these places of saying, oh, well, this migrant problem. We're not endorsing good behavior. We're not endorsing raping, stealing, trespassing, all of these kind of stuff. But there was a reason why this problem happened to begin with. Was maybe we were taking resources from those countries where it's created this desperation, right? So there's this imbalance along the way. There's not the whole story as to what's created this problem. I'm not endorsing the bad behavior as well. I'm not saying, oh, some person who's come through illegally into our country, oh, this is a noble person with some kind of noble cause. Sometimes those are really, really bad people that have come from a real evil cartel, and you're going, geez, watch your back, because you turn it, you're going to get stabbed. You're going to get stabbed by these persons. So yeah, you've got to be really, really careful there too. But there is a reason why this has occurred that we need to comprehend. We need to have that information available and go, well, were things all balanced? Was there even distribution, or there was this gangster power play that's created that whole thing? You know, it comes from somewhere, and it's very important to have this kind of understanding if we're going to be able to heal it. Again, I'm not endorsing bad behavior on any side. And I think we need to be very, very careful about tackling these kind of things. I saw that here in Africa with vigilante justice. I would see that was happening, and I would intervene, and I would go, you know, have I just saved a really bad person from that vigilante justice? I'm going, you know, it's not my job. That is the job of the police. Let's hand it over there, you know. So also need to be very, very, very careful. We are poor judges for all of these kind of situations. We're very, very poor judges. But to now suppress that information of discovering what the bigger picture is, that's not good either. And that's also what's been exposed. That's what this whole disclosure movement is saying, oh, we need to have a transparent government. Why is this country at war? Guess what? Because we did them nasty in the past, or did we ever correct it? That's classified information. No, that's important information that needs to come out if we're going to sort things out. And that comes into the 12 steps from Anon, because you've got truth right at the top, honesty at the top. Underneath comes faith, but the truth comes first. Very, very important, because you can only get to the next steps if you're actually truthful and honest about things. And the only way that we're ever going to get to proper principled love, even the tough decisions that need to be made, is if the truth is allowed to flow. And so from our high control organizations, or these harmful organizations, they put a muzzle on truth. They said that they were truth. They said that they were, like you say, the mouthpiece of God. How preposterous. Your words are bouncing around in my head. How preposterous.
Yes. Hi, Wild Bill. Good to see you here.
I used your words.
This what I call a cyber meetup, stole from Wildwall. He mentioned that when we get together live like this, it's like a cyber meetup. That's where I got it from, Wildwall. He came up with that. This getting rid of history only means we're going to repeat it again, and we will not have learned from it. I'm really holding back. Yeah, so today, I'm not going to hold back. So today, here in the US, we have what is called detention centers. Okay? I see them as concentration camps. Our government told us that they're going after the worst of the worst. And then I watched the government come up with literal law change that makes it legal to, if someone is brown or if they have an accent, that's reason enough to pull them over by ICE. So we have thousands upon thousands of people in these detention camps. And when they're taken in, they also have a section for citizens too. So they're taking in citizens, and 90% of the people in there are non-criminals. They've done nothing criminal. But at the same time, within these are for-profit prisons, is what they're called. Racial profiling. Thank you, Jay Marsh. It became legal to racially profile someone if they are brown or if they have an accent. I did not believe it when I was reading it. Just blown me away. Racial profiling was illegal before. Then they made it legal shortly after they came to LA out here. The 2-block radius that they claimed was like LA going off the charts in craziness. I knew the area very well. It's 20 minutes away from where I sit now. And anyways, so ICE agents are also going through some mental situations as well. But what people don't realize is that when women want to see their children because they've been separated, agents will ask for, intimate favors. And a mother that wants to see her child will often comply. Okay? Because that's the person with the power. There's pregnancies in this place from ICE agents. This is, people are not getting their medicine, life-saving medicine. Over 50 people have died. Not over, almost 50 people. From 2025 until now. This is not humane. It is inhumane. But for some reason, it's legal. And it's really going against people's human rights, which are basically we're losing our human rights here in the US. And it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. This has to turn around. And I keep hearing of situations that get started. And there are judges out there that are actually recognizing what's going on and stopping some processes that are happening. But it's very few and in between that you hear about these. Natasha says, being free to think, that was the first one for me. Free to think and listen to Pink Floyd. Yeah. If somebody is not in agreement with the demands of, or the things that Trump or Hutch, I always have a hard time saying his name. The one that's in the Department of Defense. They call it the Department of War. But because that hasn't gone through Congress, I'm still calling it the Department of Defense. It's like illegal to not be, if you speak against what has been set up, you have to totally agree with them. If you speak against them, you're dangerous. I've watched it go from 10 to 4 people now with me talking about this stuff. Isn't that amazing? 10 to 4 people. It's amazing.
So as you broach these subjects, we get a drop off in the live stream.
Yeah, people don't want to hear this. People do not want to hear this. And it makes me
want to talk more.
Dangerous. you know, it makes me dangerous.
Okay, yeah.
They want to, you know, it's now one. Do you see that? It is now one.
Holy
It's
crap!
amazing. That's amazing. Now I don't know this for sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, look, you like I say,
But
you've been doing this for a
I
long
guess I could
time,
clear the room, can't I?
and yeah. Okay, well, I'm
I mean,
awake now. Doing. What has just happened? You
welcome
know.
back.
Oh, Kerry K says, "I'm here." Bless you, dear.
Thank you, Carrie Kay. She has revealed a lot too. Oh my God. One of her articles that she wrote about suffrage and,
Yeah.
you know, the beginning of it. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. What happened?
Uh,
I don't know what happened. Natasha,
okay. I see people are
I
coming
talk
back.
negatively. I talk negatively about the government. Did you guys just kind of like, and it went from like 10 to 3, and then it went
It's
to
it's
1.
it's going
So
up
my
again.
question,
All right.
yes, it
Yeah.
is. My question is, did y'all choose to step away, or might you have been like, was your connection dropped? I'm curious about that.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to explain to the audience that is here because I do see the statistics
Now we're
going
up
up
to
again.
8.
But so let's make everybody aware. When you started broaching a a subject against the controller institution, the figures started plummeting. When we backed off or we noticed it, then the figures started going up again. It's just really interesting. And do you ever remember that
Thank you,
time when
Wilson.
we were talking and we saw there was some censorship that was coming in, certain words were getting cut?
Yes,
It's like one of those events.
fascinating.
Yeah.
So who knows? Um, this is a different. So I can remember 1976, the bicentennial. So now we're coming up with 250 years, which is a big celebration thing. And it's, yeah, Carrie K, I wonder if it's censorship as well. So I'm not, I'm not in a celebrating mood. Yes, I was a kid at the time, but I remember a lot of talk about the bicentennial year and what a big deal that was. And here I am to, you know, 250. So I'm watching another turnover and it just looks insane. So the celebration, it's hard for me to even get into it, to have a sense of, because of so much that is going backwards today within government and the erasing of history, things like that. So we know that the organization does this. What is the purpose of it, you know? Since this is a deconstruction channel, you guys are familiar with the original Zeitgeist? That that pushed me over the edge. And I've kept up with the guy's work ever since. Peter Joseph's great. Thank you for sharing that, Wilson.
I remember
You
that
know,
Zeitgeist stuff being sent around the branch. I mean, it wasn't like you guys should never watch this. It was like, no, it was all being passed on to everybody at the branch.
that's fascinating. How would you describe Zeitgeist?
Well, it was about a planet of abundance. It was turning the head on the present institutional systems of artificial scarcity for control. That was part of it. So the zeitgeist was this shift. It's basically saying, oh, the paradigm shift is based upon knowledge. It's based upon sharing information. There isn't proprietary information. There's a sharing of information in a responsible way, sharing of resources. If there's a helicopter there, we all get our turn using the helicopter, or we all get our turn using the boat. So there's this idea of shared resources as opposed to actual ownership. And they were going, yeah, so you can have a planet based upon abundance rather than this artificial scarcity. And it's important if we're going to survive as a human species and human family, right? So, yeah.
Okay.
That's just off the top of my head. I suppose somebody could talk about zeitgeist a lot better than that.
I never really got an idea of what exactly it was. This is cool. Hearing people talk about it. I remember 1976 as well. Yeah. So that's year
so
after.
Geist is spirit, right, Linda James?
Sure.
Zeitgeist. So it's this spirit of the age. Yeah.
So Wholesome says that was pretty good. I think Wholesome, I don't know if you're male or female. I believe Wholesome is saying your definition was pretty good. I remember when 1975 happened, and we heard crickets in the organization. Crickets, like crickets. Okay. September passed, October passed, crickets. And then Elders was saying, well, we don't know when Eve was created. I'm thinking, I remember as a child, 11 years old. Since when does a female mark anything, have to do with anything? You're telling me this? Like, really? When she was created, from the rib of Adam.
Right.
As if that, quote unquote, 6,000 years might have started when she was created, after he named all the animals and all the stuff.
No mention of Lilith.
No way. No way. Oh, interesting. Can you read Olson's comment for me, please?
Peter Joseph, Zeitgeist 07 to 11, Culture and Decline, 2013, New Human Rights Movement book, 2017, Inter-Reflections, Activist Sci-Fi, Revolution Now, Systems Science Trainer Thought podcast, and integral to the new Cyber SYN. So Wholesome Nave, just to put this in context, was talking about the Zeitgeist. It was the most watched internet sensation before social media, largely inspired by Carl Sagan, Bucky Fuller, Stafford Beer, Donella Meadows, Systems Science. Is that the comments that you wanted there?
Yes, thank you. Interesting. You guys are like such wise people. We really are. It's so fascinating to me, the things I learned from you guys. When Eleanor Roosevelt, she had, I believe they had 4 or 5 kids. I think they had 5 kids, her and her husband. And when the kids were older and stuff, and her husband's health was declining, she was showing up at different places and representing him and giving speeches and stuff. And so she got real good with different things. She was also part of the suffragettes for women's rights and things like this. She found herself easily being involved in political things. So later on, after the death of her husband and everything, she was asked to be part of the writing of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This was a huge, huge thing to do, because with each human right, those that would sign on to it in agreement, she had to go visit them or communicate with them and make sure everybody was okay with it, that we're going to sign this and agree to this. It was not just a month, doing it for a month, it was years that she was doing this. And when she finally had it all put together and everybody that signed it, she connected so many to make it all work out. She got a standing ovation at the United Nations that went on and on and on. That's how much Eleanor Roosevelt, was appreciated for putting together the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is within those Universal Declarations of Human Rights that the organization will use Article 18, freedom of religion. And I think it's important for us as well to learn our human rights. So I just wanted to put that out there. I can remember being a kid or even a young adult listening to people say, I know my rights. And I remember thinking, where it is right? Like such a foreign concept. Where does someone learn their rights? I had no idea.
There was that Elton John song, I'd build a big house where we could all live. You can tell everybody singing the song. You remember that?
Song. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the zeitgeist thing. Just coming back to the comments here, because that
Trump
zeitgeist
in Rocket now, and he thinks it's the coolest thing ever. Elton John does.
Yeah. So that zeitgeist is talking about the flaw of the current system. So currently your governance and human behavior are bound by artificial scarcity and profit. Okay. In JW, it's you born a sinner. So we set up this organization to sort out your flaw. But the zeitgeist thing is saying, look, in the monetary system, goods, services, human labor are commodified. So the argument is that this creates the systemic problem, right? So it becomes a resource-based economy. That's what the zeitgeist thing is all about, because it's saying you've got perverse incentives. The world produces enough food, but we get rid of that food in order to create an artificial scarcity to keep the economy going. So it's also an economy that relies on planned obsolescence. So like your cell phone breaks in 2 years, but if we had designed it correctly to begin with, it could last 10, 20 years. It could be repaired. You could learn how to repair the battery as is needed, or learn to upgrade it as it's needed. So this planned obsolescence, they're going, no, we're not making products that break quickly. We're making products that we can share, that we know how to repair, that we know how to update upon. And it reduces your crisis creation. It reduces your war, your sickness, your crime. That was just purely put to drive industrial growth. We're not doing this. And this is important survival mode, because your money is dictating the survival. People are forced to compete because of this money, often acting out of greed or self-preservation at the expense of others and the planet. So that was what that whole shift was in the zeitgeist. So it leads to planetary equilibrium. So it's relying on a technical, non-political approach. They actually make what can I say, a simulation. They say, here's models, here's a simulation. It's a non-political approach to managing the planet, the Earth. So instead of governments debating policies, it's saying, well, here's the scientific method to integrate human society with the Earth's carrying capacity. We don't exceed that. And we can use the cybernetics.
You can use the cybernetics.
Yeah, you can use it. Well, yeah, but basically saying use the cybernetics, the sensors, the production, tied to ecological limits. Don't exceed that. And then you get your maximum efficiency, where your resources are distributed based on physical availability and needs rather than purchasing power. So you could have a palace. There's Purple, there's your room. There's Linda, there's your room. There's Wholesome Knave, there's your room. There's J Mars, there's your room. We live in a palace, and it's great. It's phenomenal. J Mars, meet you down at the launch pad. We're going to take the helicopter out, and then we'll bring it back, and the next person uses it. So we're living in this great facility that we've now got past the, and I know this is controversial, but we're living in phenomenal surrounds. Because if you did have all of the resources, you would build a palace and you'd invite your friends there anyway, right?
Yes.
So it's this change in mindset, ownership, and oh, this is my helicopter and you can't touch it. No, this is my helicopter, and I'm generous enough to say, well, it's not mine. It belongs to all of us, and we know how to share this and all have our turn, and we know how to maintain this. We're able to work together in this kind of harmony. And they had built systems where they said, right, there's a system. Let's see this thing working. That was the exciting thing. There's the model. There's the simulation. It's working. You think it's not going to work. We were going to fight each other. No, we don't all fight each other. No, it doesn't happen. And that was the Zeitgeist thing. Did you ever see Zeitgeist, Linda James? Did you ever watch those?
I think I've tried to watch it and just could not make any sense of it. It boggled my mind, so I didn't continue watching it. So in my mind, I wasn't ready to receive that. I wanted to ask you a question. So what you're talking about, does that have anything to do with that term, you will own nothing and like it?
So that's World Economic Forum, right? That's so isn't that interesting? So it's very close to that. It's close to it. So there's nuances which shift that in another direction. So you're going, oh, that sounds like Zeitgeist. That's really great. Hold on. It ain't the same thing. Look at the nuances, which now takes those ideas which sound noble, and it takes it to another direction. You see, now how is it that World Economic Forum goes in another kind of direction? It's so interesting how this occurs. So you've got Klaus Schwab. Hey, you listen to him, it becomes something different. So Zeitgeist is going, oh, if you've got careful management, you don't have to have this profound elimination of the population. Okay, so some of these things that sound like it's going towards the Zeitgeist, but it's actually a different direction, is no, we need to eliminate people through disasters like, I don't know, a pandemic, for instance. And you're going, well, this is horrifying. Whereas the Zeitgeist goes, no, if you have this natural distribution of resources, what actually happens naturally is your population comes to an equilibrium. So it's not this drastic, unethical thing. It's a difference between ethics and something that's unethical. There's a fine line here, Linda James. There's a very fine line. It's very easy to cross from ethics to something that's unethical. So the unethical side would say, well, we got to the Zeitgeist thing through elimination and through wars and through pandemics, and we got to that, and the end justifies the means. The ethical side says, no, you can't do this. There is ethics. So it's like, it's a good versus bad thing. It's why I have this. See this box set here. See this box set?
Yes.
This is the Star Wars thing that Marcia Lucas Griffin helped to put together through her editing. So so there was George Lucas's massive filmography, and she's going, this doesn't make any sense. You've got to edit it to save the movie. And it's this whole story of light versus dark, and Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just rattling on, but it's very, very close. You're talking about World Economic Forum. It kind of takes these noble ideas, but it just shifts it slightly and it changes the ethics.
Okay.
Some might say, oh yeah, well, the end does justify the means. Let the wars happen, let these things happen to get to this thing. And we, yeah, this is the whole human debate. It's the whole light versus dark thing. And
So on that, what I said earlier, you won't own anything but like, you won't own anything and like it. Has been brought to my attention lately. I think it was something I read talking about subscriptions. You don't own these. Like I have a subscription to something called Scribe, and that's a book app that I pay a monthly amount of money towards, and I can listen to all kinds of books that they have access to, which has been extremely beneficial to me. But I don't own any of those books. I just have listened to them through that app. I could buy the books through Amazon, but having the app and paying a certain amount every month is kind of I don't own it but like it. Hey Dallas, good to see you. And other subscriptions too. What are some of the subscriptions? Netflix, some streaming channels to watch certain movies and such. So I'm thinking that that's going along with that. But
I had to get AI help to make it clear, Linda James.
Okay.
Because sometimes the nuances are tricky to deal with. And of course, I'm tired. So I typed it into the AI to get an answer, if that's all right.
Sure.
So I said, please explain the difference with the World Economic Forum and Zeitgeist, because it seems there's a nuance of ethics. So it says both frameworks focus on global sustainability. The ethical divide between the World Economic Forum and the resource-based economy from Zeitgeist is vast. The fundamental difference lies in their approach to capitalism. The WEF aims to reform and preserve the capitalist monetary system, whereas the RBE, resource-based economy, views the monetary system as itself as inherently unethical and obsolete. So when I was talking about ethics, it might have been a bit difficult, but yes, it does gravitate towards that. So the core difference is their operational models and ethical assumptions, which include the ethical goal, stakeholder capitalism versus total post-scarcity. So the World Economic Forum, what it does, it operates on the ethics of stakeholder capitalism. So it says that corporations should serve not just as shareholders, but as civil society, governments, and the environment. It views the market, private property, and money as permanent tools that just need better ethical regulation. The Zeitgeist model says no, it operates on the ethics of post-scarcity. It says that as long as money and profit motives exist, true sustainability is structurally impossible. It says that the market is a tool that naturally generates inequality, crime, and environmental destruction, that rewards resource depletion, is not sustainable. Does that make it clearer?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I'm not saying we've got all the answers. I'm saying this is a working thesis on this channel, Linda James. We don't have all the answers. We're just saying that's what Zeitgeist says. That's what World Economic Forum says. We're working with looking at what these systems are. We're not promoting one above another here.
Wholesome was saying right questions. Yeah. And that's kind of, things I throw around, like, what are your thoughts on this and what are your thoughts on that? And I've also been hearing the term late stage capitalism. Are you familiar with what that is? And to
No, but
ask AI.
it sounds. What was your question again? Because it sounds like
Late
whether it's just
stage capitalism.
late
Mm,
stage capitalism.
yes. Yeah, we don't have all the answers, but we know we can do way better. So true.
Okay, here we go. It says late stage capitalism is a critical term describing the advanced phase of a capitalistic economy, originally coined by Marxist theorists to mark the era of globalization and mass consumerism. It's now widely used to describe the perceived absurdities, extreme wealth inequality, and systemic contradictions of modern day economies. Um, yeah, it sounds really bad because that's what the zeitgeist thing is talking about. It's talking about the artificial scarcity, which is created through the monetary system. And then if we come back to human liberty and governments, World Economic Forum ethics, which is top-down monopolization. The critics in the World Economic Forum's own literature on the Great Reset proposes heavy integration between massive corporate conglomerates and state governments. Ethically, this relies on an elite class of corporate leaders and politicians managing global crisis, which critics argue centralizes power away from the individual. Your zeitgeist, which is your RBE ethics, which is decentralized automation, says we remove the politicians and corporate elites entirely, and governance is reduced strictly to the objective automated management of data and logistics. Ethically, human freedom increases because people are entirely unlinked from the requirement to sell their labor to survive. So your summary is
Okay.
World Economic Forum believes humanity's survival depends on making the wealthy and powerful more socially responsible. The Zeitgeist argues that true human abundance can only occur when structural concepts of wealth, power, and money are completely erased from human social behavior.
Wow. Wow.
It's hectic stuff. I mean, this isn't for the faint of heart.
No, it's fascinating, these, different terms and different things I've heard that can't I don't quite have a conclusion about yet, just kind of putting it out there. My daughter was explaining how the way she sees it as government in the US and like maybe it's worldwide, I'm not sure, about how because people are barely getting by and the elite have all of the money pretty much and the people have hardly anything. Somehow it's like going back to a place of a form of slavery because they own everything. I'm not real clear on how she explained it, but it's almost like a form of slavery. Like you work for the company and then you rent from the company and then you buy from the company and the company owns you, kind of thing. Is how she was explaining it to me. But I need to get more clarity on that.
Linda
Um,
James, we've got somebody who's trying to get on. I think Natasha's trying to get on and saying that she's struggling with the link. Can we just give a little bit of direction? Because I see the link is there in the chat. All that needs to happen is just to click on that, and then it should take you to StreamYard. Is that correct?
yes.
So, Natasha, persevere with that link. I did try it and it's working. I did test it now and it's still working. So perhaps just persevere. And if you need a little bit of guidance, maybe just put it in the comments and let's see if the community can help you navigate it. But it is working. So thank you, Linda James.
Thank you. So to the right of my name at the bottom of the chat, they used to have it up at the top, but now they have it on the bottom. If you're on your phone, just use your finger to press on it. If you're on a computer, kind of double tap it, click, click, and it should take you there. This is my Wizard of Oz coffee cup with it says follow your own path. And this was given to me by a fellow ex-Jehovah's Witness. Isn't that cool?
This cup was bought for me by the Madebe family.
I like it. I like it.
It doesn't have any markings on it, but it's the Madebes, and her name is Loveness Madebe. Yeah, wow. And he produces large metal sculpture for some of the banks in Africa. So they're these huge, massive sculptures. So when I was a kid, I used to film him welding these sculptures. In fact, he pioneered his own artwork. He was trained by the Russians, or he went to the Russian artist masters, and he came back and he was like, I want to produce these massive sculptures, you know, like these big Stalin sculptures. But he was interested in the artwork. He was going, I want to do African artwork like this, you know. And so he came back and he developed his own style, which took off in Africa. But he's one of these, I would say he's a master artist in his craft that was recognized. Like Robert Mugabe accoladed him. When Robert Mugabe was alive, he accoladed Adam Madebe. Adam Madebe was the coordinator of the congregation where I served, but he remembered me when I was a kid. And of course, we got on together, and of course, Loveness just loved me. And this was the cup she bought me. She says, here's a gift. So
I love it. It just looks, it's not the ordinary coffee cup size. It's bigger and sturdier, and just, it really looks like it's going to last through the years. And this cup too is pretty big. And it's a really good size. It feels, the handle feels really sturdy. I don't know. These things I'm a coffee drinker day and night. So I'm like, when I would go out with friends and we'd do karaoke at a bar, I'm drinking Diet Coke and coffee. And I am the designated driver, right? And I met some really good people because the same kind of crowd would show up. It's really cool when you can be your gift and actually make money from it. This is the latest I've been working on, is some jewelry. So this is a bit of the jewelry I'm working on.
Oh.
So I'm going to take some of it out.
Yes, let's have a look, please.
And I have yet to file it.
Okay.
And make it smooth.
Is that resin?
Yes, it is. So this is, see, I have some stuff here I need to file off.
Yes, what's in there? Is it like flowers that you've put in there? Yes, it is.
Yes, I should put my hand behind one of them.
Linda James, this is great stuff. Can you please photograph this stuff?
Yeah, thank you. So I have some flowers, some dried flowers in here, a daisy and some baby's breath, and a bit of a leaf. So it gives it a really nice look to it.
It is great. And I can see that.
This mold has different sizes. So this is the larger size, and then there's a medium size and a smaller size. So I could maybe put some gold on the side, either by way of a marker, or I could just leave it the way it is, which is still, very classy. And then put the loops through them and make them earrings or a necklace. And that is something I really enjoy doing.
It's brilliant. Love it.
So when you can do some artwork, it really gives you peace. When I'm super stressed out, I I'm doing responsible things, all being a responsible adult, right? And I'm on overload, right? If I can just stop and do some artwork, it totally revives me. It fuels me. It centers me. And it just makes me a happy camper. And what I've noticed is Trump has been doing this. Um, I I know. Okay, so Trump is very into buildings and decorating buildings, right? So life's getting kind of heavy. Trying to negotiate with whatever land is going on, whatever he's saying about whatever, and then he'll retrieve himself and do some um, working with buildings, how he wants the ballroom to look, how he wants it decorated. This is his realm of creativity. And when he gets to do that, that's what centers him. Talking about he wants to put up an arch and stuff. That's his time of being creative. I can tell it centers him. I'm not saying that his ideas are like the thing to have happen. I'm just saying I've noticed he does that same kind of thing. He gets kind of stressed out. He'll say whatever he says, and then he retreats and does these things that's his version of artwork, something that he is very, very familiar with. So I'm wondering if anybody else has noticed that as well. Let's see here. Dallas says Diet Coke don't taste as good as regular Coke. Yep. In the South, all carbonated soft drinks are called Coke, not just cola. Okay. Purple says someone in New York City has been putting logo minifigures into cracks in the sidewalks and filling them in with resin. Oh, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. This is Purple again. Late stage capitalism is when the majority of citizens believe the American colonists stopped short, and we need to follow the French example. Interesting. Tolson says the Gilded Age. Next step back would be, slavery. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm going to look at the amount of people here before I begin to speak. I don't think this government that we have now is going to stop until the only ones with actual power will be the white man that owns property. Okay? That's just my belief. But I also believe that can be interrupted and not come to a success. But that's where I believe it's heading. And I didn't escape a theocracy to find myself in society at large and the government wanting to turn this government of the United States into a theocracy, which is where it's heading with Christian nationalism, which is right Christian nationalism. It's very white supremacy, and the Bible is used to make it all okay. Slavery is okay. Treating people, bullying people, things like that. Oh, there she is. Is just the norm. Okay, Natasha. Hi, Natasha. And you are on stage with your sound off. So if you can unmute yourself.
Natasha, good to see you.
Hello, lovely.
Good to be with you. Keep persevering because it'd be great to chat with you. Take your time.
Hi, Tori. Welcome. J. Mars says, will we last the term of Trump till 2028? Christian nationalism will fail completely. I'm expecting it to fail completely, but it doesn't look like it's going to. I don't think it's going to.
I'm so surprised that this thing came up like it did.
I know, right? And the same amount of people stayed here, and it even went up a couple.
So yeah, I was looking at that. Looking at that statistic, and it seems
looking at the number.
We survived this wave, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Hi, Natasha Fingers.
Natasha, it's good having you with us. Just keep persevering, or send us a message in the live chat and see if we can guide you through.
And there's a private chat here too.
Ooh, let's have a look.
So Tori says, I'm sorry I've been so quiet lately. I haven't participated in chat recently. I just have been listening and lurking mostly recently. You know what? There's really nothing wrong with that, darling. Sometimes it's just the thing to do, you know? If you're not up to it, you're not up to it. Survival prerequisites, says Wholesome. I think J. Mars is asking, how do you define Christian? But my little heart at the bottom. Yeah, how do you define Christian? See, that's the thing about Christian nationalism. It needs to be the right kind of Christianity. And, you know.
Yeah, well, that was the right kind of question, J. Mars. So before we get to the right answer, that is the right question. Yeah, we've learned the manipulation with definitions, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've hijacked Christian as a label to make this okay, and bastardized certain scriptures to make this behavior okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be bold if I can, Linda James. JW in its present state, from what I see in my circle, if you want to call it the wheat and the weeds, the weeds in JW would just kill Jesus again.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that is so fascinating you said this, because I've seen people within society at large speak this way about Christian nationalism. They'd be like, what's this brown man doing here? Okay? They'd have him up in detention like that. Okay?
Yeah.
He'd probably have an accent too. Okay?
Yes.
And talking socialism? Yeah.
They would mark Jesus Christ in Bethel. When he walks in there, they would go, no, this is an apostate that's walked in here. Do not talk to this person. Let's mark him. Here's the warning talk on morning worship and on the Monday local needs. And they would basically give him social death. That's what would happen to Jesus Christ right now, because he would be saying, well, why aren't we protecting the vulnerable? What's happening? So, in fact, it's very interesting to put AI into a role-playing situation. Say, listen, please take a look at JW characteristics of JW Jesus. Even if JW Jesus isn't quite the mainstream Jesus, let's just look at JW Jesus, put him into Bethel, and see what kind of reactions he would get and what he would do. And I tell you what, the AI gets creative and goes, well, this is what would happen with JW Jesus. He'd be winding up and making people very, very angry, but that wouldn't be his intention to make them angry. He'd be just going, I want to come and protect the vulnerable, and this is exposing the flaws in the system. So if anybody wants to do that and say, well, how would JW Jesus fare in a JW Bethel right now in the present climate? It's an eye-opener. It really is. Basically, they would have him removed.
Yeah. King Charles came over here. I haven't heard the speech, but I heard a little bit of what it amounted to was, do you not remember that y'all left us because of this very thing that y'all are building up now? You know, let's remember that you were against this. So it took the King Charles to come over here and say such things, and doesn't even seem like anybody has of higher stature has taken that in nor taken it serious. It's a matter of court records that Trump has broken at least 9 of the 10 commandments. Can't say whether or not he has personally killed anyone. Yeah. Christianity is a
Dallas has
perversion of
locked onto
Christianity.
this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. It really is. Any society that tolerates poverty, especially whenever it has the means to end it, is a society that is fundamentally abusive to children. Interflections inspired by the new human rights movement. This new human rights, I'm not familiar with this. That's fascinating. I need to look into new human rights. JW Jesus is like I think Dallas is saying the Republican. Yeah, the Republican Jesus. If you can, Natasha, if you can unmute your sound. Can't unmute your guest because they chose to mute themselves. Okay, there you are. Hello.
Natasha, hello.
Hi.
We see you.
She might have the camera on, like facing the other way instead
Yes.
of facing her. So good to see you. Yeah. Hello, lovely.
Natasha, just take your time, but we're going to try and get you to see if you can unmute your microphone when you're ready.
Hello.
To do it again.
There we hear you.
There you are.
There you are.
I have to do it again.
Okay, we have echo.
I'm on my old phone.
So I need to
turn off YouTube.
Turn off YouTube.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
You did?
You did?
So your YouTube is
producing feedback.
It's on my other phone. I'm turning my other phone up. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think about
No
that.
problem.
When I think of like
what Jesus would look like,
there used to be a show called Lost.
there used to be a show called Lost.
I think there was this Muslim.
I think there was this Muslim man,
and he had his
hair in a ribbon.
When he took it down, it was.
When he took it down,
and I pictured Jesus looking
And I
at
pictured-
him, and I don't remember the name of the character. I think that echo is gone. Thank you. Good job, Natasha.
Yeah, you got it.
Yes. Great
It's
job.
tricky stuff, but well done. You were talking about Lost and an Islamic representative on that show.
I think it was possibly a Muslim person. And I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember he was a gentleman that was kind of dark-skinned. He wore his hair up in a turban kind
Man
of
bun.
thing. Okay. And no, it wasn't a man bun, but it was
and then
a cloth that'll go
a cloth that'll go all the way
When
around.
he took it down,
When he took it down,
washed his hair, and then
washed his hair, and then just let it.
Okay, the echo's back.
Okay, the
It
echo's
just
back.
seemed long.
It just seemed long.
Just an ordinary looking
Just an
man.
ordinary looking man.
Yeah, when you were talking about the new how do you call that, the Jesus freak that are with the Zionist Jews, because all the Jews are not the same to the Zionists from Israel.
I think we were talking
I think we were talking Zeitgeist. Not,
I
I'm
still have
talking
the
about
I still
Israel
have
and
the
what's
echo.
going on there.
Okay.
How many
Okay.
people they kill in Gaza and in Lebanon. It made me think about that. The Jews don't recognize Jesus. So I don't know why there's a name Judeo-Christian. It doesn't exist because
Judeo-Christian.
they don't believe in Christ. It's nothing. It's rubbish for them. But Muslims, in the Muslim faith, Jesus is the greatest prophet of all.
Oh,
So if you're a Christian, you are more close to the Muslims than the Judeo-Christians.
I don't know what combined.
I don't know what combined Judeo-Christianity.
They always say that Judeo-Christians, but they talk mostly about the Christians that wants to have a paradise. They want the Jews to do that. They're a little bit intense. It's the least we can say. And they want the Jews, the fanatic Jews, the Zionists. Okay, it's not the same as every Jew. It's the Zionists.
Right.
They want to kill everybody around. They want to have the paradise from the Nile to I don't know which other river,
Right to the sea.
and from the Mediterranean Sea to that river and another river, like God promised them, and they want to do it by themselves. Like one day, I put a message. I said I was in a doomsday cult, but at least they were waiting on God to do it. We didn't kill anyone, but those Christians that are a little excessive, very excessive. They believe that what the Jews are doing, killing, the Israel is doing, killing everybody around them, all the Muslims and all that. For them, God told them to do that. So yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
It sounds very New
It
Testament.
sounds very New Testament, doesn't it?
No, it's Old Testament. That's the word.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Thank
for
you.
that correction.
Thank you for that correction.
No, it's not a
stand corrected.
correction.
I stand corrected.
That's
But,
exactly what I meant.
That's exactly what I meant. Old Testament.
It's crazy. Like those people. Oh my god! And they voted for Trump because he was with what's his name? Netanyahu from Israel, the prime minister from Israel.
Right.
Right.
And the next one
I don't know
is
why
going
I
to be
still have
I don't know why I
It's
still have an
going to be
echo.
worse than him because he is ready to use a nuke on the Middle East.
Who
I
is?
saw him telling
Who
me.
is?
The next one, because Netanyahu is gonna go in prison for crime against humanity
Okay.
when he's gonna lose. That's why he wanna stay in the war, As long as they are still in the world, he's untouchable. But the elections are coming soon, and yeah, he's gonna be put in jail for the rest of his days. But he's got a cancer, so won't be too long.
He has
But the
cancer.
next
He has
one,
cancer.
the next one, uh, he was in jail for 30 years, but he was supposed to have life in prison. He was in the States. He was a spy for Israel, and he did really bad things. He killed people and stuff, and he's the next one they're gonna vote for him. And he's ready to use the nuke on the Middle East, the other countries like Iran, all the CGG countries, and yeah. And I am for Iran, by the way, because I knew some people from there, and yeah, I can't believe those people are bad in the heart. It's not.
I'm impressed with
I'm
Iran.
impressed with
I'm
Iran.
sorry. I'm impressed
I'm
with
sorry. I'm impressed with
Ukraine.
Ukraine.
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know enough
no,
about
there's
I
Iraq.
don't know
another
enough
war
about Iraq,
in Iran.
Iran.
Ukraine is something else. Yeah, I was for Ukrainian at the beginning, but then I tried to find some real information, and yeah, I'm for the Ukrainians, but not for Zelensky.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's my friend in Belgium who told me make some research on him. You're gonna see he's stealing all the money, and he's he's something else. He's yeah, she said he's not like you and me.
Okay.
She's okay, he's a
Okay.
bad guy, and he is. He is.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
changed my mind on that, but you know,
We don't
but
really know what's
We
going
don't
on.
really know what's going on in the government.
Iran, I knew right away, like, what is Trump doing there? They did nothing. They did nothing to anyone.
Well,
They were
before
okay with the
before
people who were
he went
looking
there,
for
he went there,
the nuke and everything. They were okay. They were looking at least once or twice a year, and it was all okay. And yeah,
what?
no, it's because Netanyahu, the guy from Israel, he needs to eliminate the people from. I know you don't want to be a politic, but he's got to the only one who are helping the poor countries is Iran, and Iran is helping those people, the resistance, not ISIS, not those guys.
okay.
Hezbollah that come from Lebanon, and they try to keep Lebanon. It's different. There's a big difference. They are not for ISIS and the other one. What is Al Qaeda? No, they hate them. They would never help them. But yeah, so it's
After
kind of
November,
After November,
a hot mess. And
sounds
the
like
gas
it.
is
sounds like it.
the gas is not coming down, eh?
No.
The price of
No.
the gas. In Iran it's I think it's 50 cents for a gallon. For a gallon of gas in Iran, it's 50 cents
A gallon?
a gallon. Yeah, 50 cents.
I think when I was a kid.
No, that's in Iran now. They
Right,
they
yeah.
got they got the gas. Okay, they got the And Trump is kind of mad because Canada, we provide like 50% of your gas. It's coming from us. So Trump is pretty mad at us
Yeah,
because we want to we already export the natural gas LNG to South Korea and Japan. The world is turning around. It's the equilibrium.
yes.
Is that how you
yes.
say it?
Yes.
Equilibrium that's coming back. It's turning, and yeah, it's just every so every so many times it turns, and it's
Right.
just the way it is.
So this is a
It's
cycle.
not,
this is a cycle.
yeah, it's not always
Okay.
the same that they have an empire, you know. And the states are a falling empire, but it's gonna be okay. They're just gonna be a normal country. That's it.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Huh?
That's exactly what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, it's just
For it to just
and no,
be a normal
yeah, we
country.
will not be able to listen to all those stories from the states. Oh, we are the best. We are the best.
I know.
It's gonna stop.
If you ever notice a
It's
meeting
gonna
with
stop.
Trump around a table, everyone there praises him before he
Oh yeah,
starts
I know.
to talk about
whatever he's
Oh,
going to
it's
talk about.
whatever he's gonna talk.
trying. It's a cult.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Do you know what
Do
we recognize a cult leader or
recognize a
what?
cult leader or what?
Mhm.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
We were in the womb of our mom and we knew.
It's
Yeah.
It's
What?
so I've read Hassan's
book,
book,
The Cult of Trump,
What?
and I recommend
it.
Steve Hassan
What
has a
book?
book called
Hassan has a book called
The Cult of
The Cult of Trump.
Oh yeah, I know about
And I
the book. I didn't read
recommend
it, but
Recommend
people read it and
read it and see if it
ring true.
rings true to you.
I believe it.
It's not-
It rings true with the other symptoms, like his normal book. Yeah, I don't need to read the Cult of Trump. Yeah, it's a cult.
lived-
It's
We live
no,
it and
everybody
and we're
realizes
watching it.
it, but
Say that
it's
again,
kind of
Say that
deep,
again, please.
you know. People elected him. It's kind of deep. They should have read the book.
I don't know.
Should have been a
No, for sure.
story.
Yeah, it did come out. It's right.
You
Yeah,
know,
it did
like
come
at
out before
school,
that.
you have to read that book and give me a resume of that book. You know, just
Okay.
but
Jamar says
Jamar says
was a puppet,
was a puppet.
and I wouldn't be
And
surprised
I wouldn't be surprised if all
countries' leaders
countries' leaders are
It's cutting off. I didn't hear you.
Linda James,
if I may,
have we been asked
if
able
we
to
been asked
isolate
able to
where the
isolate where the
echoes coming from?
echoes coming from?
It was gone for a while.
It was gone for a while and then
it came back.
came back.
So whatever Natasha,
So whatever Natasha did
when it went away,
when it went away, needs to be done.
can
Okay, I
Can-
did nothing. My other phone is off. My TV is off. My radio is off. Everything is off.
so when you touch the
So when you touch the link
to come in here,
to come in here,
you need to do is
you need to do is
video
just stop
first
the video first
and then touch the link
and then touch the link
to get in here.
to get in here.
Stops the video.
So-
Stops the video.
Go back and
You can try that, yes.
You can try that, yes, please.
anyway, I don't have anything important to say, so I'm
You
gonna leave you.
Sure.
You sure at all.
Your presence
Your
is
presence is
very, very welcome.
very welcome, Natasha.
We just need
Yes.
to work
We
on the
need to
technical
work on
side.
the technical side.
Yeah, if there's an echo, I'm gonna leave and listen to you on the TV again.
All right.
Okay.
But it's good. It's
Okay.
good to be with you,
It's good to
Natasha.
be with you, Natasha.
Thank you, and sorry for my big accent and stuff.
We love your big
We
accent.
love your big accent.
I'm trying to lose it, but it's too late. I'm too old.
I came to realize
I came to realize that
I'm going to wait till you
I'm going to wait till you
leave and then
leave and then
say hi.
Okay, I'm
on the chat.
leaving.
say hi on the
I'm
chat.
leaving. I love you too, and I like Matthew, and you are making the perfect couple on the screen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're talking, and nobody's stepping on each other. Like it's wonderful. I love that you found Matthew, Linda.
I don't know how he showed up here.
I don't know how he showed up here, Glenn.
He's kind of complimentary and yeah, yeah. Thank you both. I'm going back to my TV.
Okay,
Love you guys.
Okay.
you too. So let us know when
Bye.
you're in the
Let
chat.
us know when you're in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have we got our sound back?
Okay.
I think we're back.
I do. And then
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for her to say she's in the chat.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love the way you guys have conversations amongst each other. It's really cool to see. Very cool to see. You guys are just, yeah, a wealth of information. And I like that, you know, I can just come here and ask questions and not know the answers and get some feedback from Matthew or any of you here in the chat. I appreciate that. And I appreciate that inquiring minds show up here, you know. I'm going to wait for Natasha to chat, to show us that she's in the chat, because there's something to share. And I'm going to ask you guys if you think, because I have an opinion I want to share. I want to ask you guys if you might notice it too. I'll have to wait for Natasha to say something. What's on your mind, Matthew? Anything?
Yeah, I'm also just waiting for Natasha to pop up in the comments because I know that you want to mention a few important things. I think you tune into uplifting everybody. Natasha, you're an important element in this community, let me tell you something. And your deep accent Please bring it. We want your accent. Thank you very much. So you just arrive as you are, dear Natasha. The community is really happy to be with you. I'll speak for myself. Nice to have had you on board. Yeah. Yes, we got tripped up with the technical side. It happens on my show. The technical thing can come in, and we just go, oh, man. But you know, the other thing too is we sometimes just persevere, and then we can always do like a replay or something like that. I try and do a replay. Not that I'm saying, hey, Linda James, you need to do exactly the same, but I worked out that some of the technical things are just too complicated to sort out. So sometimes I just do a very clean video of everything. I think it's just the dynamic of our open circle. I call mine open circle, but Linda James, your channel does the same thing. We just have to work through these technical things. Sometimes it works one day, sometimes it doesn't. It's, yeah. Anyway. Are we still transmitting? I think we are.
Yes, we are. I'm reading Pilson's comment and wondering if it's in another language.
It looks like it's Afrikaans.
I had a feeling, yes.
Wat het ik moet zeggen? Ik slaap as the zon draag water. Yes, if you need to sleep, sleep. If you need to drink, drink.
Yeah, there's no need to push yourself. I mean, yes, there's times where we have maybe children to watch, or we have, you know, elderly in our family that we're taking care of, and yes, we do push ourselves. But at this time of healing and assimilating into society at large, if you're, you know, you're being a responsible adult, you let yourself have the rest when you're tired. Let yourself eat when you're hungry. Don't deny yourself of the basic needs. If you can, if you have access to them, you know, take care of yourself.
Wholesome Knave is saying, I must say, I sleep like a log. That's the translation. And it says, and I sleep like the sun carries water. That's ich slaap as de zon graag water. Water. That's the translation.
Wow.
I don't know Afrikaans. I didn't grow up in an Afrikaans environment.
Is that is that part of South Africa?
Yeah, it's a Dutch Afrikaans, so it's unique to it's a dialect of Dutch that's unique to Africa, to South Africa.
Okay. So I've been waiting for our Natasha to say that she is in the chat, and she has not yet said this. So Natasha, if you're there, can you just give me a yes or an icon, or
give us a signal, Natasha. Yeah. Let us know you're here with us. When are we going to sing together, Linda James? We want to hear from the diva.
We can sing something we're familiar with. Probably better on your channel. This channel kind of gets rid of the music.
Oh yes, we discovered that happens. Eh? Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe a cappella would work, but I don't know.
A cappella, yeah.
Natasha is not showing up yet. So I wanted to ask the audience.
There we go. Natasha, she says in the book of Joshua, even if nothing happened, nothing is true. They will keep killing Palestinians, now people from Lebanon. That's her comment, yeah.
Okay, good, you're there. So I have a question for you, audience. So, yeah, 11 years ago, we had the Australian Royal Commission. And there was a man there named Angus Stewart. I'm I know not everybody has seen this, but do you find that Matthew's accent is very similar to Angus Stewart's? Angus Stewart has, what I heard last was that he was going to go to South Africa from Australia to be a judge of some sort, which makes me wonder if that's accent of his was from South Africa, now that I listen to Matthew. Matthew, you're probably shocked to know you have a bit of an accent. Because you do just a bit. But tell me, audience, do you find Matthew's accent similar to Angus Stewart from the Australian Royal Commission? So Angus Stewart was the lawyer that was doing a lot of the questioning, the male lawyer, which they have a different name, they don't use the term lawyer. So yeah, you can answer me in the chat, or if you haven't thought about it, maybe you can tap into the Australian Royal Commission. It is on YouTube, and even in the comments under this video, you can leave a comment confirming or not. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Because it finally dawned on me recently, actually, this is a familiar accent.
Linda James, how are we doing on the time? We are 2 hours, 36 minutes into the show. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. I can go another 30 minutes or close it up anytime. How about you?
I feel like we should sing a song together.
What song do you want to sing?
I don't know.
Do you know Summertime?
No.
Okay.
I know Summertime Sadness.
Summertime. And the living is easy. Does that sound familiar?
It sounds good. That's all I can tell you.
Fish are
Wow.
jumping, and the cotton is high.
Who sings that besides you, Linda James?
It'll come to me.
Is it?
Your daddy's rich. It was that. And your pa and your ma. She's good looking.
Mm-hmm.
So hush,
Hush,
little baby. Don't you cry. Then it kind of goes up an octave. One of these mornings, you're gonna wake up shining. Is that
singing?
Yeah. And you'll
Then
spread
you'll
your
spread your
wings,
wings
and you'll take
and take
to the sky. Until that day. I've lost the words.
There's
There is
nothing can harm you.
you. Did you look up the
No,
words?
no, no.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Little hush, little baby. Don't you cry.
You cry.
So that's by this artist that is trumpet playing.
Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke might have done it. And there was
Sam
a black
Cooke.
artist who did it too with a thing. He's a trumpet player.
Okay.
One of my friends did an imitation of him.
All right.
Like in Vegas too. And what else? Why don't you come up with an idea of something? Because I think once we start singing together, it's gonna flow.
I was winging it there. I had no idea what the tune was like. I was just going into the words there. But yeah, it's all good fun. Linda James is part of the creativity. And by the way, have you noticed how we've been gravitating towards more creativity discussions of late?
Yes.
It's been doing that. Oh, I had a message that came in this morning. Somebody snuck on to the. I'm not plugging my own channel, but the Open Circle where you had appeared. Somebody snuck on,
Mhm.
and we didn't know. I didn't know. They said, "Oh, I had just a black image,
Yes.
turned off my image," and I said, "Wow, I didn't know there was somebody else. I just thought it was one of the guys that was there because ended
Sure.
up 3 guys, Colin,
I love it
Peps,
when
and
you guys.
myself."
I love it when you
And-
guys are having your discussions.
Well, this was a chick that came on,
Hmm.
and I
Okay.
said, "Oh." He says, "Yeah, I heard 3 kings yakking away." So
Kings.
yeah, I went, "What?"
All that testosterone threw her off balance. Oh God, no.
I said, "No, I'm really upset because if I had known I was going to make red," I said, "the fact that you were dark, this was I'm disadvantaged. That's my excuse."
That's kind of cool that, maybe next time
Mm,
they'll say something.
we'll see.
Because
Yeah, I think they were
I'm sure she feels welcome from you.
testing the waters, maybe. I don't know. But I was like, dang, if I had known, but I couldn't see through the dark, I was blind. But anyway, I got the
Yes.
message and now I
Blinded by
see,
the light.
So, yeah. Anyway, but
Wow.
yeah. So look, I like with your seasoned live stream. Things they don't always work out technically. Sometimes the technical side, you've got this terrible echo. I wanted to erase the whole live stream. By the way,
Today's?
my one. Yeah, I was like, I want to erase this thing
Okay.
because my perfectionist side was coming out, and I'm going, no, just
Okay.
leave it. It's authentic.
that's
It's a mess. Just leave it.
Yes. Yes. I call it an organized mess. Or
Chaos.
organized disarray. Yes, an organized
Okay.
disarray. That's what I call it.
All right.
That's what I call myself. I'm an organized disarray.
Mhm.
And it is what it is, and either people can hang or they can't. And it's so tough when you are your worst critic. And yes, you want things to start cleanly and end cleanly, and every period in between and every comma where it should be, the timing of somebody else talking, and when will we come in? It doesn't seem like there's a space for us to come in, so we let it drop, and maybe we'll bring it up later. Gosh, we done forgot. Okay.
Mm.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. A whole lot of that. So I like that these chats are organic, and I see that in your channel too. So his channel is his name, Matthew Millis Gray. Forgive me, I'm going to try that again.
Listen,
No,
I don't mind being
can
gay. I'm happy and gay.
Okie
You know.
dokie.
Are you happy and gay? I'm happy and gay.
Isn't that amazing how that word gay turned into being a homosexual? It's just so funny.
Yeah.
Just a trip how that happened. My grandmother, as a hairdresser, knew that Rock Hudson was gay before the public did.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the public found out that when he was in his later stages before death. But
Okay.
next month is June. June is often considered Pride Month. Last year, I was so actually just distraught with June of last year. There was a whole lot going on. I believe that was the month that I showed up in Bellflower, California, and there was just a whole lot of things that my brain just could not digest as even happening. And I knew it was happening. It was just, I allowed it to really, well, it did. It affected me. But I might be talking about a bit of the history of Pride Month and even the Pride flag, because it's often considered by the realm of Christianity as though the LGBTQ plus community has stolen it from like God, when that is not the
Oh,
case at all. It's
that's
actually,
interesting. What, like the Rainbow Covenant has been stolen?
yes. So it really bothers Christians that the rainbow flag is used as an identification of homosexuality. So in actuality, it's a flag of inclusion. Uh, and even far back in history, there have been rainbow flags as well of inclusion within
Hmm.
times past.
Well,
So
you're
there's
talking to the
that.
South African from the Rainbow Nation, you see,
Okay.
because we use the rainbow flag for all colors of the various races. But
That's
of course,
pretty
now
much
there's something else that came about because now Cape Town is said to be, what is it, a significant homosexual city.
interesting.
Yeah. So it was not just Rainbow Nation of colors, but also the sexual diversity as well of South Africa. So it was
Okay.
more than just color. So we got to be called the Rainbow Nation.
Jim Jones actually called his family the Rainbow family. He had bio children, but he also adopted. He was actually the first white man to adopt a black child, whom he
Hmm.
named Jim Jones Jr., who is still alive today.
Hello,
Like,
Jim Jones Jr.
yes, a black man. Um, and he adopted a couple of other kids of different nationalities. So because of the different nationalities, he called his family the Rainbow family.
Hmm.
Which I think was kind of cool.
I just know that we are humans, and there's all
Yes,
colors in the hues of the spectrum. So
I
there we go.
agree. And the color wheel remains the same. You've heard of, I don't know if you guys have heard of The Song Remains the Same. Actually, that's the title of a Led Zeppelin movie. The Song Remains the Same. So back in the day, I would be showing up to watch The Song Remain the Same, and other people would be showing up to watch, oh my God, what was it? The cat with, gosh, it's gonna come to me. It was like one of those after midnight showings. It's like they have a cult following where people in the audience would like do the moves with the people on the screen. And I gotta think of it. Um, let's play the time warp again.
Oh, that's Rocky Horror.
Thank you. That's it. So Rocky Horror Picture Show would be playing over here, and then The Song Remains the Same, which was like a movie made about the group Led Zeppelin. And we'd go in and watch that. Never went in and I think I did later. And that was kind of fun because people would literally do different portions of the video, different portions of the movie, like reenact it as it's happened. It was gnarly.
Yeah, it was quite an art piece that, eh? Rocky
The
Horror.
last time I went to a concert was at a Pride parade. Not a Pride parade, but it was at a Pride event in Long Beach, California, and I saw Chaka Khan. I was just like, Chaka Khan, yes. She gave a really great concert. And that was probably quite a long time ago.
The official Andrew Lloyd Webber concert that I went to was Phantom of the Opera.
I've been to the Phantom of the Opera play.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
It was very phenomenal. And I used to, when I was diehard karaoke junkie, I I would ask to be put on a panel of judges because they'd have these karaoke contests and stuff. And some of the people would sing Phantom of the Opera, have the mask on and everything. It was quite amazing to be able to be part of the panel. We would mark our markings, but we wouldn't come up with the total. We would hand that over to somebody else who figured that out later. I remember this one guy, really, he was an older gentleman. He'd walk up and you could tell he was very frail. And then the music would start and he'd just be like, next thing you know, he's singing Frank Sinatra like nobody's business, like smooth and wonderful. It was like, this dude's amazing. And so I remember he came and asked me one time, did you guys fill out the sheets with pencil or pen? And I said, pen. But then later I figured out why he asked, because if we had done it in pencil, it could be changed. It could be altered. So we are now at the last 10 minutes of this show, for it to be 3 hours. And I think we can wind it down.
All right, Linda James. So I'm going to send some thanks your way. Thank you for being the gracious host that you are and for your consistently keeping center. Also support on other channels as well. So thank you very much. Your focus on healing, the healing network, the healing space came through again. You were actually using those words, which is probably what I picked up on. And I was going, yeah, this is the dialogue that you use about these healing spaces. This is it exactly. So thank you very much for your hard work week after week to create the healing spaces that you do. And also thanks to everybody in the comments for sticking around. Jay Mars, I see you, really do. Thank you very, very much for your connection. Thanks to Natasha for braving it, coming on. We had some technical difficulties, of course, but thank you very much. It was good seeing you. And by all means, bring your accent. It's part of this diversity thing. So thank you very much. We've got some good discussions about politics and control. And I think these discussions are helping us see that, you know, we as humans, we need to get past these kind of things. Linda James, I'm going to say less and take a bow out, but it's really, I wanted to leave you with words of appreciation and gratitude, and I'm looking forward to your wise closing. So thank you again.
Thank you for joining me, Matthew. I always appreciate it when you show up. So last week, I actually forgot to thank those that will be listening ahead of time or later after the show plays. So I'm going to start off with you. Those that listen to the show after it goes live and it's like the recap. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the comments that you leave, and I appreciate that you take the time out to listen. Thank you for everybody that showed up today in the chat, and I thank Matthew. I really appreciate the community that evolves around this channel and the fact that we are people that have been in abusive relationships and families and cults working on healing. And I just want to say that as much as we are aware of just how awkward we are and how we always know how we just don't fit in, over time, it just gets better. The more we get up and go again, you know, we will gain the wisdom needed out of socializing, out of the negative consequences that we get and the positive consequences that we get, that helps us develop and assimilate into society at large and to actually become worldly, which is actually a very good term. If you look it up in the dictionary, someone that's worldly is actually quite savvy. They have traveled and, you know, have learned about these different cultures and things, and they have a world view that's larger than someone that may have never left their own culture of origin. So it's actually a word that's a compliment. I know that it's used within many Christian cultures as being of the world, and Scripture talks about not being part of this world. But the fact is, we are in this world. This is where we are at right now. And please tap into what is going on with you today rather than having that mindset that we were trained to have, which was to cut off anything we want to do and wait for the new system to do it. Because this is the time that you can do it. Other than, responsibilities that are, of course, take first priority. If you have the time to pursue things that you're wanting to pursue, this is the time to pursue it. This is the time. Enjoy what interests you. Enjoy taking part in what interests you now, okay? And don't wait. If it's something that you are interested in, it's for a reason. It might seem very awkward at first, and it might even feel wrong with your conscience. But please listen to the fact that you are interested in it to pursue it first. If you pursue it and decide, yeah, it wasn't what I thought it would be, and choose to, not take part in it, again, at least you have given it a shot, rather than waiting for a time after this life. That is very, very important for our growth and our healing. It's very important because it develops our own sense of identity, who we authentically are. Someone else might be very interested in doing sports, which I have no interest in, okay? But if that's your thing, that's what you're interested in, there's usually towns that have a softball team that, you can become involved with. There's other sports that you might be able to become involved with that the community might have open and available for you. You might be able to do some coaching with, younger kids and teach them what being part of a team is about, and how not to be a sore loser, and how to learn how to lose the game with dignity and respect for the other team. These are characteristics that they carry into their adulthood. And these are good things to carry into the adulthood and to be able to function in society at large. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn things when you are pursuing your own self-interest. This is the highlight of my weekend. And I thank you for being here. So I plan on being here next weekend. And thank you so much for being here. This is Apostle Babe Linda James, your favorite apostate. And this is May 30th, 2026. I will talk with you all next time. Good night.
I never made it.